fat ball.
Sorry, Tim. What did you say there?
Don't forget the fat ball. Sorry.
No, I was going to do that. Okay. Chris O'Neill, welcome to the latest Fearless in Devotion, sponsored as ever by the Fat Boar. The fume is real this week, isn't it? Look, I've not been there for both these games, so it hasn't been as bad for me as it might be for you guys. But it just seems to me like the week has been summed up by two air shots, one by Jack Marriott and the other by Andy Cannon. Liam, you were there for both. What do you think?
They were pretty much carbon copies of one another, really. I mean, first 45 minutes of both were slow to get going, not taking the ball to the other team. And the only real difference is the fact that Tranmere got one chance and took it. It's 24 hours later, and I've been quite calm recently about, defeats and stuff like that. But there was just something about the one yesterday which just left a bad taste in the mouth. There was a lot of people getting pissed off by me. I wouldn't say the team weren't up for it, but just the amount of things that went wrong passing wise and stuff like that. Just a really frustrating afternoon to follow Wrexham.
Yeah, passing wise, I mean, so many times it seemed to be that we overhit stuff and we also powered stuff into people. So the likes of Fletcher, certainly Lee yesterday, they couldn't control the ball. Tim, do you think we missed McClean? Do you think we missed that sort of drive? But we can't just be a one man team. We're not a one man team, are we? Come on, there's got there's other things at play here, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I just think he brings an element of cunningness and guile and shithousery that maybe the others not lack, but he's just an expert and he's just next level at what he does. And obviously, he was really started making an impression in midfield. So for him to come out of it was a loss in that aspect of that disruption. But yeah, I just felt that there was nobody there to really take the game by the scruff of the neck, and ultimately, it pains me to say it, but I think Wrexham played like a side who played for the points and not the pride. Tranmere played for the pride as opposed to the points. You need to be playing for them both if you want to get anywhere. And I just thought it lacked something. Before the Newport game, Parky said they sat down with the players and explained to them how much it means to the fans. This should have been no different. I don't know whether they did or not, but yeah, it's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, really, because it wasn't like a meek surrender, but they could have shown a lot more than what they actually did, and that's the frustrating aspect.
I mean, when you say about playing for the points rather than the pride, I think Parky's always been a percentage manager. I'll be honest on that. I always think he's looked at a season over 40 odd games rather than one or two, and just thinks that there are certain ways that we can get promoted. Always been quite pragmatic on that, and that's why I'm not massively deflated by this. I mean, I wasn't there, so I would have been a little bit more pissed off if I was there and I saw the lack of fight firsthand rather than just watching it on highlights, because obviously I don't have a VPN and I wouldn't be able to watch it live because that would be absolutely illegal. But I think something that came back to haunt me from what I said last week, where I said that these are big game players who won't be phased by a League Two run in. The likes of Fletcher, the likes of Mullin, the likes of Lee, certainly McClean wouldn't, they'd enjoy this. They wouldn't really be stressed by it. It looked yesterday, Liam, that they were a little bit stressed by it. I mean, nothing really came off Fletcher yesterday. There was a lot of flicks and tricks where really and truly I just wanted the hard running of Palmer in some ways. Do you think he got the team wrong?
Yeah, I looked at it when it started, and it's a dull thing to keep going on about Mullin and Palmer, but I think Mullin and Fletcher as a pairing, they don't seem to have that same level of understanding. And I think the other thing about putting Fletcher on the pitch is that defenders just resort to lumping it forward because they know that he's a player that can win those type of balls, and there's not much variation to it. I still feel like I just prefer having him as that man who can come on for 25 minutes, something like that, when you're on top of a game and really take it to a team. So I thought he got it wrong in that respect. I don't really know what's going on with Lee either. I don't know if it's legginess, I don't know if it's tiredness, but it felt like he was trying to do too much at times yesterday, sort of overthinking things a lot, going for the shot when, he could have laid it off and vice versa, actually, in some cases. So, some people were saying he's selfish. I don't think it's that. I just think he thinks that he's got the ability to take it to other teams, but for whatever reason, it's really not coming off for him these last few weeks whatsoever.
No, I mean, I get what I mean. The start of the season, we didn't have Mullin, and Lee had to step up into that role, and he was absolutely brilliant. I do sort of think maybe he's made a rod for his own back on that a little bit because he was so good in those sort of first few weeks. But let's be stark about this, Tim. Right? So it's the first time in 3 years we've failed to score in successive home games. Why is that? What's changed? I mean, we were so good at home, and there was a fear factor there, and almost. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to say it, but we've become a four-sided ground now, and it seems that the atmosphere has ebbed away a little bit. Is that right?
Yeah, but I don't think you can attribute any blame too much to an atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of paranoia saying, "Oh well, we haven't seen a goal at the tech end in ages," and it's true. It's been a long time since there's been a goal at the tech end. But I mean, my mate Rich, I'm just reading a couple of tweets now. Rich said before, he said, away form was always going to creep into home performances, impossible to operate on two different planes without them merging together. I mean, it's true. I mean, you look at, we lost to Bradford, we scraped it against Notts County, and then we've gone struggled to kind of force anything against Harrogate, really struggled to force anything against Tranmere, and that's not bad luck. It's not bad luck. Between Tuesday and Saturday, they should have been hammering the scoring drills. Put more conviction in that final third. So, 24 was it 24 shots? There's only four on target. Four on target in this game. Four on target on Tuesday. Given the quality of the strikers we've got, that's not a good return. And by no means is it a panic stations moment, but I mean, we're all fairly pro Parky, I'd like to think so. But he said in his post match interview, the players gave everything. They gave everything. Well, if they gave everything and it wasn't good enough, then you have to look within and
Hardly
go,
good enough. Hardly good
well,
enough.
no, Parky has to look at that and go, well, you're now not getting. You've got your players to sing to the same tune for a long time, and it really, really, really well. And now, in recent weeks, you can bookend Morecambe because player sent off and a really good performance after we scored. But you kind of got to. I just think it needs to sort of really address that because as good as an experience as the strikers we've got, we haven't got anything that screams pace. You need a pacey frontman as well. You can whack it round the corner to Mullin and this, that, and the other, but it just doesn't. I just think we are getting a little bit found out, if I'm honest. And again, I don't want to be the negative ninny because we're third and everything is looking good with 8 games to go. But quite rightly, everybody's getting a little bit of squeaky bum because the results went for us on Tuesday and we didn't capitalise. Stockport clawed back a point the other day, and then at the weekend, the results essentially went against us. So everybody's getting a little bit.
Closed up. It's closing up, isn't it?
Yeah, but everybody's getting a little bit. It's typical Wrexham to screw it up and we'll end up in the playoffs. You know what? Still not a bad place to be. Look, would you mid-table obscurity with nothing or something to play for? So we still got plenty to play for. However, we need to address it sooner rather than later because this team doesn't suddenly dry up on the goal front if something's not quite right. And it just annoyed me the other day because like Barnett put a zillion crosses into the box. There's no variety. It's just
No, they're all just like looped up, sort of
it's
ballooning crosses.
it's hung up in the air because we know we're going to get Fletcher on the end of it. And like Tranmere are not that daft. A completely different outfit to when we played them last. Different manager,
Yeah,
different
they
ideas.
were. You're right.
Yeah, and you can't take away from the fact that they defended really well. Didn't offer. The annoying thing was they didn't really offer much. You know, they've lumped it forward. Hell of a pass. Mistake by Cannon. That's that. And did they offer
Yeah.
much after that? No. Did we offer much more? Not really. So
Let's talk about the goal, Tim. Let's just talk about it while you brought it up. I mean, who's to blame for that? I mean, I've said air short at the start of this, and I sort of feel that Cannon needed to clear it. I'm not really blaming the keeper this much because a lot of people saying like Arthur's been quiet, he's stuck on his line, but Arthur would say to him, "Clear it, clear
Yeah.
it." That's the first thing Arthur would say because he can see it in front of him, and Andy hasn't managed to do that because he's not managed to make contact with it. And you put that out into Rosette, that's a 0-0 game because I don't think Tranmere were really threatening.
it was,
He didn't manage to do that. That's just a genuine personal mistake from a player
but
that's done
it was
really well for
avoidable.
us.
It was avoidable on so many levels, and it
Yeah,
brought
I
back
know it was. Yeah, yeah, I know.
it brought back memories of Darren Brace and Andy Marriott at Chesterfield. It was like, just clear it, and it went to shit. But why is Cannon there anyway? Right? Why is all the defense so far up the pitch? O'Connell and Owen O'Connell was very, very good. He has the opportunity to put a block on before that shot gets away. From the angle, it looks like he doesn't put too much effort to get into it. Maybe he wasn't close enough to the player. I don't know. It's hard to say. The guy gets the shot, swirls a bit. There's a foot race, and he does miss it. He misses it, but Cannon's a wily player. Just hold your man up. Hold your man up. There's two of you. One of you's got to take it. And yeah, I mean, I love Okonkwo. Don't get me wrong. But ever since that Blackburn game, he's virtually made an error in every game, give or take, right? But it kind of gets counterbalanced because of the amount of saves he makes,
Stuff
and
he
the amount of
does.
claims he makes.
Yeah.
So it's unfair to focus on the mistakes. But don't get me wrong, there are mistakes. But he's a young goalkeeper; he's going to make them. Okay. Who was to blame? One of them's just got to shout for it. One of them has to come. But I think Arthur initially comes, sees that Cannon's got the legs to stay with the
Yeah.
lad,
It's
goes
Cannon's
back,
ball. Cannon's ball.
comes again, and he's like, I don't. And the frustrating thing is, Arthur's so good at getting down early for shots, usually long ranges. So when I was expecting to, he's literally a whisker away of getting a touch on it. You know, for a big man, he gets down quick, and yeah, it's a good finish. It's a good finish. It's a classic breakaway goal. And it's just frustrating for Andy Cannon because you know he's done really really well in recent times, and it's a bit of a blow for him. But yeah, it's a sucker punch, but you just got to get on with it. You know, we like winning at Prenton Park, and they like winning at Wrexham. That's just the way it is these days.
Liam, in a word, who's responsible for that goal?
Cannon got to put his foot through it.
Okay, fair enough. That's all I need on that. All I need. So it's a wider thing of responsibility. Cannon didn't take responsibility. You know, he might have been knocked off the ball. He might not be able to, you know, have got that air shot to just take it out. But there's other responsibilities all across the pitch. Who is actually taking responsibility now for what Wrexham are doing? Tozer's out the team. McClean was our other captain. He's out the team. Luke Young came back in. I actually thought he had a pretty good game. I was quite surprised he was taken off. But anyone other than that you think should be taking more responsibility? Because this is a League One team of winners, isn't it? This is people we brought in from higher divisions to get us where we need to go. So why are they not helping us through this at the moment?
I mean, talking about Luke Young, I do think he actually stepped up and took responsibility yesterday. He was coming in and filling that right side, trying to encourage Barnett to get forward, trying to sort of do those overlaps on him on the right hand side. And the times that they did do it, it worked all right. There was one chance when I think it was at the temporary stand end where it flashed across the box and it was crying out for someone to get on the end of it. I also noticed he was talking people through the game a lot as well, Luke Young, which is why I was astonished that he was taken off, to be honest. If you're going to take someone off in that situation, not scapegoating Cannon, but I would have probably said on the basis of
Cannon
performances.
looks tired. Cannon looks
Yeah,
tired. Cannon's played a lot of games, right?
yeah,
He's been very good for us, but his style is pretty all action. So he's
yeah.
up and down. He's breaking the lines. I mean, he looked jaded yesterday. I was surprised that that Young was the one who came off, but he always seems to be Parky's scapegoat in many ways, doesn't he, Liam?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, you get people taking the piss and going, "Oh, people just like him because he runs around a lot and he's good at set pieces." Well, he is good at set pieces, and actually, I'd argue with McClean off the pitch, he's one of the only decent set piece takers we've got, other than O'Connor when he came on. But it's not just that though, as well. I think he actually combines well down that right hand side. He offers something. We seem to have more balance when we got him there, but also sort of I know it's unavoidable because James Jones is injured, but down the left hand side as well. It's just I don't know. It's a bit frustrating at the minute. I don't know. The thing is, if George Evans gets back, get there, is fit again, then I think that could be pivotal to us. In the meantime, I think if Tom O'Connor is able to play 90 minutes, I would say that we've got to start him and in midfield actually, because I don't feel like defense is the issue particularly. So if you've got a decent quality midfielder there, let's start him.
Yeah, I mean, Tom O'Connor was brought as a midfielder. He's good at set plays. We know that. I think that was taken out of his game a little bit because we needed him to actually score goals rather than put the ball in to set them up. So, would you see Tom O'Connor as someone who could come into the engine room? If so, who would you sort of take out of the firing line for the next few games just to recharge?
I think he does because the defense. There was no defense for two or
No
three
issues there.
games. So Cleworth, he was name of the match. He had a couple of hairy moments, but I liked about Cleworth is that he was shouting at O'Connell about miscommunication, but I like that. There's a bit more directness and he's not afraid to tell it how it is for a 21-year-old. So I just think that back three picks itself now. It's settled, which is
I agree.
we've rarely had that. And to credit to Boyle, I mean, I was like, oh, he's going to get sent off again. He infuriated me with the Milton Keynes Dons one. But he's come back in and he's done really well. And I think he's enjoying playing with O'Connell and Clue. I think it just looks really good. But I think O'Connor has to come in. He's got another full week on the training pitch. I think he has to come in. Adds a bit more dynamism to the game, a bit more grit, a bit more speed and
No,
mobility.
you're right about speed, mate. I mean, because look, even when he came on, he was a bit rusty, but his short passing game to actually get things moving, not taking two or three touches and then thinking about it, he was moving the ball before he even got it. It's the same as Evans. He works out in his head where he wants the ball to go, and it's a case for him of angling his body to make the pass straight away, and it's quick, snappy, and I think we need that in midfield now, don't we?
It's funny you say take two or three touches and thinking about it, because that is exactly what Elliot Lee seems to have crept into his game. And you don't become a bad player overnight. He's still our top scorer. He's still been brilliant for us. But all of a sudden, like the shot he had yesterday that got deflected and the keeper had to tip it over, he could have just hit it. He took a couple of touches. Then he was looking for a pass. He was looking for Mullin to make that angle to slot him in. He's looking for another avenue to get in on goal from 5 or 6 yards instead of just going, you've got the ability. We all know you've got the ability. Put your laces through it. The gap was there. The gap was there to have a shot.
That's what he was doing when Mullin was missing at the start of the season, wasn't he? He knew he had to step up. He knew he had to take those early shots to really drive us on. He's not doing that. He's trying to find Mullin. He's almost a bit subservient to it. Well, you don't need to be. You're Elliot fucking Lee. All right.
Yeah.
You do it yourself. You don't need to be finding someone else. All right. You've got the talent that you can do that and make a snap decision.
For all of his sort of being out of form, which given his high standards, he is out of form. I thought Tranmere smothered me out of the game really, really well. I just thought they were quick at him, they were surrounding him, they were pushing him wide, and they did a number on him. You know, they saw him as our
That's an
playmaker.
active team, isn't it? That's a proper good discipline display by a manager who has managed at Premier League level.
Yeah, really good. I don't think anybody expected him to do as well as he has done since he's come back. But you know, I said they were. I think I tweeted that they were the team that's transformed. Everyone's like, no, they're the shit. Well, that may be, but they beat us. They were second from bottom in the away form table, and they still beat somebody with the best home form. You know, through discipline, through structure, through pride. You know, and it's not often many of us leave a Wrexham game, specifically at home, and bemoan a lack of uh, battling spirit and passion. And it just pissed me off that we seem to lack that. And nobody's ever going to admit to it. Oh, yeah, that's bollocks. But it didn't help themselves after when there was that big ruckus on the pitch, and everyone's like, "Oh, they show more fight
They
after
should
the
have
fight."
showed some bloody pride. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean,
They
yeah.
did show fight. They have to
That's
show
easy,
fight.
isn't it? It's easy for us to say
Yeah,
that.
they showed fight. Otherwise, we would have got rolled over. But they didn't show enough. There wasn't enough fire in the belly for me, and that's where James McClean comes into the equation.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a revelation since we got into the middle, and I think we really missed him. But there's certain things through a season where little sort of moments can maybe define something. Him getting that yellow card where he didn't really need to could be one of them. Could be one of them. Who knows? I mean, I'll be honest. Looking at it yesterday, it really made me question what happens. Like, I think we will still go up, right? I do really think we will go up. I think we'll go up automatically. I think Parky's got enough experience and a good enough squad to turn that around. Okay, that's fine. I worry about what's going to happen if we get into League One. That's where I worry. And there's certain fringe players who are not really nailing it down at the moment for me. And I'm sorry to say, Jordan Davies, he's one of our own. He's the Cody assassin. I mean, we've all spent the last 3 or 4 years really pinning our hopes on Jordan because we see there's enough talent there. We've all loved the way he's played, the way he's dragged us up through a lot of games where we shouldn't have won it, like Dover at home. That was a Jordan Davies game. I mean, it just feels like those Jordan Davies games are few and far between now. I feel that he's coming on and he's not really grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. I felt it when he came on against Walsall at the back end of the year last year. I felt it yesterday where he sort of came on and I was just wanting him to really sort of rip into people and really grab the ball and really sort of set the agenda. And Liam, I really just don't think he did. And I don't want to get too heavy on a player. I don't want to single out any individual players, but I just know how good he can be, and I'm not quite seeing it at the moment. What do you think?
I think the only thing you can really say in his defense is sort of lack of any playing moments, really, because I don't know what's going on with the reserve team squad. It feels to
Yeah.
me that players who are around the fringes aren't actually getting much chance to play football, which can't be ideal for them. But at the same time, sometimes you do want a player who's on the edges of the squad to really push for that starting position. And when he comes on, he just seems to drift through games a little bit. He doesn't look like the Jordan who was, when he was really bright and lively and just on the front foot, playing those passes between the lines. He did have one shot yesterday, which went just
Oh, it
wide
was a
of
great
post.
shot. It was a great shot.
Yeah, but it just felt like those moments are few and far between these days. And thing is, I want Jordan Davies to be a success at
We
Wrexham,
all
but
do. We all do. I'm desperate for him. He's like
yeah,
he's
it's
our
like,
guy.
but it's reluctantly. I've just got to that stage where I'm like, does he, for the good of his own career, does he need to perhaps, look to go elsewhere? Just because I think since Elliot Lee's come in, he's not had the game time whatsoever. They're very similar sort of players, and I don't think it's helping him, not getting first team minutes. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't like to see it, and I want him to succeed beyond anything, but I feel like he's really struggling at the moment.
Tim, is it the chicken and the egg? Is it that Jordan's a confidence player who's not getting confidence because he's not getting minutes? Or, is it if that shot would have gone in, would we have seen a different Jordan Davies after that? Or I'm really and truly, we can't wait for that, can we?
I've got this wild theory, and I actually mentioned it to a few people, and they said, well, it's a reasonable comment, but it is a wild theory, and it's probably very untrue. But see what you think. I just kind of think that, obviously, that first season where we didn't go up and he was so good, they hit 20 from midfield, was free to roam, he played with an air of confidence and like a slight arrogance. It was just good to see him come into his own, and everything that went off for him off the pitch, lot of stuff that would hit anybody hard, let alone somebody a lot younger. I just kind of, he's got a young family now. He's opening a business with Rich Watkin and Fly. I kind of pose the question: is football has he fallen out of love with the game? Is it his first priority? Probably, I would say, family first, investments, things like that. And it's completely wild. I'm just thinking completely off track. I'll probably get pelted for saying it, but I wouldn't blame him. There's so much stuff that's been going off away from the pitch, and you come back into your local club. There are players ahead of you, very, very good players. Yeah. And it can be a little bit demoralizing, and I think it angered a lot of people when he came on the other day, where the ball was lost. I'm not sure it was him who lost it or somebody, and he just kind of like jogged about in front of the opposition player. And maybe it looked bad from our angle, but I spoke to a few people about it, and even on Twitter, people saying, I've just got up from my bed to my sofa and I've just gone further than Jordan Davies did when he came on. There was a lot of anger by his demeanour, which he's a hard worker. He's gone away to Brighton to better himself. He's come back. Could have gone to Doncaster, when they were doing a little bit better. Come back to Wrexham, and it initially worked out for him. And I just think he's at a stage now where, if he wants to play the game and he wants to play regularly, it's not going to be at Wrexham. I think we all know it. He probably knows it. So there is a point. He's at a crossroads now where you either move on or you up your game. And I understand what you're saying about the reserve thing. It's frustrating that he's kicking his heels and he's not getting that time. And who knows? Who knows? He might come good again next year. I want him to come good. We all do. We all want to see a homegrown player thrive. I just feel like time's passing him by a little bit. And I just feel that if he does move on, he'll get a good club and he'll do well. I don't know. I just feel for him, because we all want him to do well, and it's frustrating when he's getting bit parts in games and it's just not working for him. But like you said, if that shot had gone in, not the free kick, the shot
it's different.
Would have given him a massive boost. Boost. And it's literally, it's like watching I don't know, just like watching something on the telly. It just makes you feel a little bit sad. You enjoyed something once, and now it's not quite what it was. And I just get a feeling it's just...
You're talking about the last series of Game of Thrones, aren't you?
I've never seen it. Yeah. I'm going to get pelted for that, aren't I? But yeah, no, not Game of Thrones. Right, no.
Look, I think Jordan's a victim of his own success. He was so good for us and so instrumental into everything we did that every time he comes on, we think he's going to do that again. We're sure he's going to do it again. We know that when he comes on to replace Lee in his old role, the left-sided attacking mid in that three, where he doesn't have to defend that much, but he does have to really sort of drive us on. We're expecting something that he can't give at the moment, and it could be because of what's happened off the field, or it could be that he's not had the minutes. It's probably a combination of both. But where we expect Jordan to be is not probably a fair comparison of where Jordan can be at the moment. And I think really and truly, I think there was a turning point in the season where we thought that Lee may get booked and have a two-game ban, and then who was going to come in for that? Well, it would be Jordan, and we knew he would have 2 games, and we could really see what he could do from the start there. And he has started a few games. I think he started against Accrington away, didn't he? When Lee eventually was suspended or was taken out of the firing line for a little bit. But I think he needed that run to see where we really are with Jordan at the moment. And I think 10 minutes. We know what Parky's like with subs. He's never going to come out at half time, is he? But he's going to get 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And
Jordan Davies is in the squad, so he must be training well, right? Jack Marriott wasn't even anywhere near the squad for whatever reasons. Not been mentioned of any injuries, and he's preferred Derby over him. So Jordan is in that squad on merit from what Parky's seeing in training, but it's just not transferring. And you just think, well, if you trust in Jordan Davies to go out and affect the game, get him on earlier. Simple as that.
Yeah. Tim, have we got any fan reaction? Anything that you sort of picked up from the account? I've got some from. So probably, I think he's a Wrexham fan. Reese Williams has just WhatsApped our group.
Who's that?
Yeah. Some.
Isn't he the star of Hangover 4? Apparently, given what he told us.
He's probably got a tattoo on his face.
The Welsh Rugby Union and a wooden spoon.
Yeah. Do you want me to read Reese's sort of view on it?
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
Okay, performances have been very poor recently. I'm not saying they haven't, but some of the online meltdown from people is ridiculous. These are often the same people getting carried away when we beat Accrington at home. We could beat Grimsby or not right now, or even Stockport in their first season in League Two. They had to make a late surge for the playoffs, then they limped out. Work is needed on the squad. Sorry, whether we get promoted or not. Yeah, that I believe that as well. I don't think this squad is good enough to get us anywhere near the playoffs in League One. But that's a different matter because what we have to do now is actually deal with our business in League Two. We have a solid squad going for a rough patch, yet somehow we're still, as it stands, going up. We're still third. Perspective is needed. Time away from your phones, up the shagging town. I do I hate agreeing with Reese. We all know that. But for me yesterday, not being at the game and not having the sort of the fume that was there, I feel the same. I feel we're in third. I feel our squad is still good enough. I think we've still got enough big game players to get us over the line. I don't feel...
You weren't there, man.
Yeah, I'm sensing some gulping guilt. That's the 4th time you said I wasn't there. I wasn't at the game. Yeah,
I don't like not being at a game. I really don't. I mean,
you're not. You haven't
it was commented on a lot. There was people around me going, "Where's Andy Gilpin?" People were really concerned and annoyed. I think, to be honest, by your absence.
Yeah, there's been a lot of concern about me since last week's email gate.
The Penikai plastic, he's now known as.
Right, Tim, we've got our guest who's ready to come in. Do you want? Should we just go on for a little bit, or should we?
We'll get him in. We'll get him gone, and then
we'll sort of go through the rest of the business that we've got. Yeah. So, would you like to introduce our guest? Hang on, he's coming in now. Right. This is the bit that we all love, where it could go one way or the other.
You got to put your camera on, Tony. Don't be hiding out in the background there. This is going to be... Come on, Tony. Come on, Tony. Are you there, sir? This is that dead air moment. We'll just keep chatting until Tony finds his camera and his sound ability. We've actually had this guy on a couple of years ago, and he's very straight talking, from what I can remember. Almost too straight talking. So this could go one way or the other. So, but at the moment, he's not talking. So we'll wait until he does. And,
hang on. It sounds like something was happening there.
It sounded like a plug-in.
Okay. While Tony's coming on, Tim, remember when you said a couple of weeks ago, have you kept your receipts for the transfer window? And I know you were taking the piss. And you had a few peddlers, and even I thought, come on, mate, give him a bit of time. Where are we with that with Bolton and Marriott. Marriott didn't make the squad yesterday. Bolton came on and does Bolton stuff where he beats a man and cuts inside and more or less loses the ball a lot of times. I mean,
did we keep the receipts?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as each week wars on, it looks like a bad transfer window. Probably the poorest we've had in the Parky. So, yeah, but you know, we'll see what happens. I just don't think Bolton's done a great deal yet.
There's potential with Bolton. There's potential with
yes,
Bolton. There is. But the only thing I would say about Marriott is we're buying another late 20s, early 30s player to get us over get us over a line. We did the same with Waters last season. It didn't really work out for him, but I can understand why we did it. Is that really where we want to be evolving this squad at the moment? Is it?
No, it's not.
Surely we have to be buying potential at some point, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why'd you bring in a player like Marriott and not include him in the squad all of a sudden? It just, I don't know. It doesn't do much for his confidence either at this stage of the season. You know, it's a strange one, but I don't know. The Marriott thing's a weird one. I just think those two players, I don't know if they were top of Parky shopping list. I genuinely don't think they were. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think they were. But that's by the by. We'll return to that because our guest is with us, Tony Butcher from the Cod Almighty Grimsby Town fanzine. How are you, sir? Are you well? This is where. Oh, what does that say?
Yes, fine, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear. Can you hear us all right? Yes. Can you hear us?
Very good. I was having difficulty.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I can hear you fine over there in the west. A happy west.
We can hear you. Thanks for joining us at sort of last minute. Give us a bit of an overview as to Grimsby's season so far, because there's been managerial changes, there's been some absolutely horrific results, and then there's been a bit of an upturn as well. So just give us a brief overview of the season so far and where you're currently at, if you'd be so kind.
Well, should we start at the very beginning? The very beginning is probably when we beat you.
All right.
So since that season and the following season, like last season,
Tony, why do you have to bring that up straight away? Straight away, you have to bring that up, don't you?
Because I'm gonna make you happy towards the end of it.
Okay.
Because it's been a bit yin and yang, really. It's the karma of football that's really got to us. Our new owners took over and have had 2 years of everything's gone perfectly, absolutely perfectly. It's been bliss for 2 years. So last summer, suddenly we had £1 million more than we thought we were going to get. So they thought, right, let's consolidate, let's plan for a push for promotion. Let's build on where we've got to. So they went out and they signed a lot of players because they've got a new recruitment man in who's got a computer. So we've got a computer, we've got a lot of data. So we got some new players in and we've got them in, and they all looked better than the people that they replaced. Unfortunately, when you put them together, they weren't a better team. Their data may say that they're better footballers and sturdier individuals physically, but the data computer doesn't tell you about the mix of personality and how people mix together, and that hasn't worked. And so we've been an absolute shambles all for the entire season until 2 weeks ago. I think you're unlucky. If you'd have been playing us 2 or 3 weeks ago, you would have been disappointed not to get double figures at London Park. But we've suddenly clicked because the new manager has moved away from his experiment in junior pet ball with people like Luke Waterfall as your linchpin, and now we're playing bog standard relegation battling 4th division football. We're organised, we're doer, we're grinding out results, and we just look negatively competent again. We look good enough not to go down, and that's where we've ended up after all this time. So we did you a favour, by the way, by beating you, because you had a fantastic season last season and you build on that. Look at it that way.
I suppose so. It generated a bit more drama for the documentary, which always
Oh
helps.
yeah,
No, no,
it
no,
was all part of
no,
the narrative, isn't it?
no, that was a long few days to get over that loss. But anyway, I digress. We've had Dave Artell on the pod when he was in between jobs, and we found him very, very engaging, very intelligent.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he was just waiting for the right job to come along. So you've now got two ex-Wrexham players pulling the strings there with Artell, Sean Pearson. What has he finally brought in that where Grimsby are now in a place where they look comfortable, they look organised? What's changed in the last few weeks? Is it personnel or just the style or both?
Well, again, I'll go back a little bit because it's never just where we are; it's how you got there. Interesting what you say about David Artell. Yes, he interviews very well, and I think that's what he did. He interviewed well when the board changed managers in October, November, and he comes from a more academic background, and that resonates more with our chairman, our two owners, because of their background. So he's very similar to them. So of course he would interview well. But he came in and he tried to instantly make us into, I call junior pet ball. You know what I mean? Basically playing out from the back. And he imposed that from the start with players who can't do it. And they can't do it because they haven't got the skill level and they also haven't got the mental capacity to do it. And he was making them do it. So no, it's going to work. It's going to work. And he kept doing it through January and February. And then we getting hammered every week at home. I mean, you saw what the scores were. Absolutely murdered. We're in total meltdown. And after we were defeated by Doncaster, they had a traditional big meeting to clear the air in the dressing room. He came out, and that's where he's basically rode back on his principles, recognizing that it's horses for courses time. You can't just experiment. Whether in the long run his thought processes, his thought experiment will succeed, well, we'll find out, won't we? But we are now much calmer as a fan base because he isn't being obstinate and he's recognizing that let's get to the end of the season and we'll build from there. So you asked if it was change of personnel. Yes, it's a change of formation, partly by accident, because literally there was an accident in which two or three players who would normally play would have been picked and they weren't available. So we had to change the formation and put different players in. And immediately we became a lot better. So we stuck with that. So, serendipity, a bit of luck. But overall, I think the change has been he's shown himself not to be obstinate. And that has resonated within the squad and in the fan base. And we've instantly clicked back together as a fan base and the team was clicked. So I was like, sorry, you're too late playing us. You'll only beat us 3-0.
All of the recent pickup in performances and results, has that given you enough to feel confident that you can steer clear out of trouble? Because there's 6 points in it, and Colchester have got a game in hand, but you're on 39 points, 6 points clear of Forest Green.
And the goal difference. And the goal difference is in our favour.
Yeah, it is. I mean, are you fairly
effectively? Yeah. I mean, we played Sutton and Forest Green in the last 10 days, and we looked at them and said they should go down. I mean, I think one of them might survive. And it's more likely to be Forest Green, but they shouldn't do. They're not good enough, but I think they might, because I think Colchester and maybe Salford or Swindon are sufficiently ailing, but we're on the rising track, and we are not bad enough to go down at the moment. And I think it will continue to be that state. So we're not going to count our chickens, but we are quietly confident that we've got to a position where we will be safe ultimately, and that's all that we're looking for.
Yeah. Okay. Who's your main man? Who should we be looking out for? Is there anybody in particular?
I knew you'd ask this.
You're not allowed to say Luke Waterfall. Dirty word.
Oh no, because he plays for Hartlepool now. I mean, Paul. It was a season two. It was a season too far for him, and we all knew it. So he left in January. We really haven't got an individual player that I would say that you need to worry about, because it's now a team operation. we're much more solid at the back, because we'll probably play at the back against you like we did against Milton. Them. And they only had one shot on target all night, even though they had the 80% of possession. So we're pretty, doer. Our most important player is probably two most important players are Curtis Thompson, who's the midfield bison or buffalo, as our Sal called him really oddly yesterday. He called him, he's a buffalo, he's a bison, he's a tank, he's a destroyer, all in one sentence. Oh, what is he? Well, that's what he is. He's basically one of those midfield players who runs around, tackles and gets the ball back. So he's quite important for us. And if Danny Rose is playing at centre forward, he'll be a complete pest to your back line. And he might charge a fly kick down that he might go in. Now, they're probably our most important players. But if you, let's say, is there anybody you've got to worry about? There's no individual that you have to worry about.
Oh, there we are. Andy, you say anything?
No, last thing you want is a pest who's going to trouble our centre halves. I mean, that's what Tranmere did to us yesterday. Can I just ask about Sean Pearson? Just because he's obviously quite dear to our hearts. Is he quite ingrained in that club now? He couldn't be someone who's jettisoned by Artel in the summer. And
Absolutely.
To be honest, if you are playing more agricultural,
there's no way. There's no way that Sean Pearson will be let go. That you got him from us after he was with us for a long time, and then he came back. So, and he's actually from South Lincolnshire, so he's a Lincolnshire lad, and he is ingrained in the club. And the owners, I think, they basically said to Artel, your backroom staff is Sean Pearson and Ben Davies, because they've got a long-term plan for those two that they might eventually take over, but they know they're not ready yet. So no, Sean Pearson won't be let go unless somebody offers him a management job somewhere and they won't step in his way. I mean, he is a legendary part of the club, much as I think it is. I don't know if he's legendary part of the club, but he's certainly, I know he's well liked there for his wholehearted performances, and we know what he's like. You know what he's like because he was the same in both clubs. So he's the sort of player that everybody loves, isn't he?
I think he's the sort of player you want behind the scenes, really, because he absolutely will let other players know how important it all is. Tony, just from what you've seen about our rivals, I mean, where do we stand in this? Who's the best team in the division? Tell us we're still going to go up, because we want to know that we're still going to go
up. Just look the ball in the box and head it in. There's plenty of teams that fancy themselves as football teams. You can just bully them. Mansfield are the strongest side that we've played. We played them 3 times this year, and they've hammered us each time, but only 2-0 on 2 occasions. We drew them at one. We were fluky. They were overall the strongest team that we played. The team with no name that we beat last week are the prettiest football team, but you just stand. Make them pass it sideways and they can't do anything with it. So, I mean, they are sort of your rivals at the moment, aren't they? They're about 4th or 5th. Who else have we got? Every team has got something about them if you let them play the way that they want to play. I mean, that's obviously the difference between this division and the division below. Every team is quite capable of beating anybody, but you just have to stop them doing what they want to do. So we've got to stop you kicking the ball down the sides for Mullin to run onto and get a set piece or whack it in. And you've got to stop us playing as a team on the break. If you want to stop the team with no name, you just stand on your 18-yard line and stare at them. I'm not sure how you beat Mansfield, though, because they did look by far the strongest team that we played. I mean, we only played you once, and to be honest, we'd lost that game before we left Grimsby. We turned up and we saw the scene that he's played, and we thought, oh, he's given up. He's just setting the team up to lose. So we weren't surprised we lost them at your ground when I was there and watched it. And my view of the difference between you in non-league and this league is you've certainly got 2 or 3 better players than you had, much better players. in important areas. And obviously, Elliot Lee, it's not a difficult thing for anybody to observe, is it? He makes a huge difference because everybody else you've got is a sort of version of what you had before, and he adds a lot more. He makes you play football more, which is dangerous. If you're able to lump it in the air and battle and also play football, you're a dangerous team, aren't you? So we expect you to go up.
Tony,
I know you don't. Oh, I haven't mentioned Stockport, have I? I bet you're happy with that.
Well, I mean, if you haven't, they're obviously out your support process. So I'll take that. I mean, Tony, it used to be that we could score from a variety of ways, and if we couldn't outpass you or sort of outmuscle you, we could get a set play. It seems that we've stepped back a little bit from that from the last couple of weeks, but we know what this league is like, and all it needs is us to beat you on Saturday, and everything is rosy again. And this podcast is not as downbeat in any sort of way as it has been this week. Tim, should we do predictions now? Sort of change the order a little bit, see what Tony thinks, and then maybe move on to any other business at the end.
Yeah, we'll do predictions, and then we can free Tony up to do the rest of his night because he doesn't want to hear me singing. Or correct, I'm not going to let you hear me.
I don't want to hear you bloody singing.
Well, all you got to do is put your earplugs in and turn your camera off, you miserable mood hoover. So anyway, let's do predictions, then we can let Tony go, and for giving up his time, very, very kind. So Tony, you can go first. You're in a super confident mood, infuriatingly. So what are you going to go with?
I'm always super confident of us messing it up somehow. I was going to every game expect us to lose, and I go into this game and I'm thinking, you've got a really poor away record. You're starting to panic. We're the right team for you to play because we're in a really good run of form. So we're very confident. So obviously the opposite is going to happen. If you've got Mullen playing and he's on, he's bothered, which he often is against us, and you play it with intensity, you'll overrun us probably 2-0.
Is that you?
If you're mentally weak, we'll win 1-0. It's up to you what you think about that.
It was 2, Andy. We're only allowed 1 each. So, Andy, go on then. What have you got?
Right, okay. Now, part of me sort of thinks, yeah, it's the same again, isn't it? We always seem to be taking on a team in form. Remember Forest Green when we were supposed to play them away? They're in absolute disarray. That game gets postponed. We play them when they've got Cotterill in, they're organised. We nearly bloody lose. It's happened a few times. It happened with Tranmere on Saturday where we could have played them a couple of weeks ago. They'd have been all over the place. Now they're into form. Look, all I can think about is on this Saturday is Phil Parkinson is paid a lot of money. And we mean in League Two, a shit ton of money, right? He's got a week on the training ground with probably on paper the second or third best squad in the division. This guy has to turn it around on that, and I think he will. And I think we will eke a 2-1. I think it will be tough. I think there'll be a setback where we might lose a player or we might... Oh, hang on.
Our form is drawing, says Tony.
Right.
Mixes up speech with signs. I like it.
I mean, for the people listening on Spotify, Tony has just held up a sign there. But basically, I think Parkinson has paid the money to get us up. He's got the players to do it. He's got the experience to do it. If he doesn't do it, there are big questions. But he will do it. We're not going to lose. I think it's going to be 2-1.
All right, Churchill. Right, Liam, your go.
I'll keep it short and sweet. This isn't because of Tony's sign, by the way, but I was genuinely going to go for 1-1, so I'll stick by that. And I feel even better now about that after seeing the sign.
Yeah, Tony's going to think this is some sort of weird subliminal stuff, but I was going to go for a draw as well, genuinely. But I'm going to go for 2.
Is a draw a bad result? I don't think it's a bad result.
No, it's not. It's not. I think just avoid defeat going into that Mansfield Good Friday game because that's massive. Massive.
They'll be up for that. They'll be massive.
I mean, it's their title to lose now, really. Anybody with half a brain can see it. But if we want to stay in and around that top 3, you have to get at least a point on your travels and start winning those home games again. So that's what we need to do. That game to me is more important than Saturday. However, I think Grimsby will keep this little run going, and they'll know they're still looking over their shoulders slightly. It's not done and dusted yet. So I think there's a lot on the line for both teams. So I think that's why it'll end up in a draw, 2-2. So you're optimistic with a win, 2 draws, and whatever of the 2 Tony wants to pick. You have to pick the one now. You've heard ours. You've got to pick the one of your 2 draws, or your 2 predictions, I should say.
Oh, you'll beat us. I told you last time you should beat us.
Don't like that. Reverse psychology. Rubbish. Don't like it. Don't like it.
Can I ask you a question like I asked you last time?
Yeah.
Are you still content with Parkinson being your manager?
Oh, don't open up this kind of shit, Tony. Bloody hell, I thought we...
Would you be content if he was your manager?
No. I mean, but we've said that since the moment that he was appointed as your manager, which is he's the retardant to you.
But what if he got you promoted with 111?
That's an outside observation.
What if he got you promoted with 111 points and you sit 3rd in the table at the first time of asking back in League Two?
Yeah, which Stockport didn't do, which Stockport got nowhere near with a similar budget.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I think that you would have walked it with a better manager. You would definitely have gotten promoted in front of us if you'd had a different manager. You really would.
I think they've got the manager who fitted what they wanted to do. They wanted to get out the. They wanted to get out the conference. They eventually got out there. They want to get out of League Two. I think Parkinson will lead them out of League Two. Look, I don't want to be the guy who sits here and says, "Oh, there's a Parkinson ceiling. He's not going to get us past, don't know, 10th in League One." Look, if he develops a style of play and gets better players in, which he can do because he's in League One, we have got a chance with him of getting into where we or the owners think that we should be, which is the Championship. But things will become very apparent next season if he's able to overhaul this squad enough and what it needs, because it needs a massive overhaul. And I think yesterday really sort of nailed that down. So thank you for bringing the mood down, Tony. We wanted to get away from that, but you've absolutely brought it flooding back into us.
The London Stadium looks shit anyway. He wants to win.
You have our sympathy and our empathy.
Nobody wants to win promotion at West Ham Stadium. You want to do it on your own soil. So, you did us a solid there, really.
Oh, yeah, that was rubbish and really overpriced as well.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
Well, thank you very much, by the way, for Wrexham supporters for contributing towards the Grimsby Town supporters that day. That was really, really well appreciated.
No, we've been there, mate. We've been there. We will always back you and any other clubs who need it.
100%. Yeah.
Well,
Tony, thanks.
I suspect our paths will be now diverging in terms of where we are in the league for a very long time.
I hope not.
Bye-bye. It's been nice knowing you.
Right, great stuff. Tony, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it. We'll let you go because we've got a few more housekeeping bits to do and we'll crack on. But yeah, good luck for next week. Just not too much. But thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of the season.
Cheers. Take care, Tony. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. So a trip to Grimsby is nice, but it's not a trip to California, is it? And so that's where we're heading again this summer. Firstly, Tim, Liam, are you planning a jaunt over there?
Christ, I wish I could afford it. I can barely afford to leave Wrexham, never mind go to California. But I was a bit envious of some of the scenes last time, a half-cut Andy Gilpin with his cowboy mates.
He was full cut.
But I would love to do a proper US jaunt, but no, not happening for me.
Tim?
It depends because obviously this week Wales return to action for the Euros, the sort of playoff eliminator. So if we beat the Finns on Thursday, we play again next Tuesday. If we win that, we qualify for the Euros in Germany. and if we qualify, I'll be going there. So it's unlikely I'll be able to stretch to both. If Wales don't, then my very, very good fallback option would be to go to San Fran. I always want to go San Fran anyway. Always wanted to go. Obviously, big Metallica fan there from San Francisco, so I just wanted to do that whole pilgrimage, if you like. And yeah, playing in front of the San Francisco 49ers stadium. You know, you don't do that every day. You don't play Chelsea every year. Well, we do at the moment, it would seem. So yeah, I don't know yet. Is it the Rex Coast Tour? Is that what it's called?
Well, it's a tour, isn't it? So I think there's going to be other stuff. I mean, I did sort of hear whispers it may be Vancouver, which I am. That is the content I am here for. I loved last summer's American trip. I met some really good people, you know, like Wayne and you know, Baltimore Red and, you know, Jay as well, you know, some many more than that. I had a brilliant time. I so enjoyed it. It's so good to go away to a different continent and just see people who really are engaged in your club. And I sort of feel that it becomes more of a community thing because these are people who've really got hold of the club through what Ryan and Rob have done, and also the documentary. And what they want to do is they want to talk about their love of the club, and it could be that they're talking to their mates, and their mates aren't really that arsed because it's not sort of, I don't know, the Packers or the Patriots, and so they will travel long distances to US games to talk to Wrexham fans, and I've found it so welcoming. It's like it was the perfect 10 days away. I really enjoyed it. I'm really hoping to go again, but I would like to see where else we're at before sort of planning a little jaunt. Really.
Yeah, I think we'll see those details soon. I hope they don't allow any of the players to take their eye off the ball. It's the only worry. Kind of want it to. I mean, you've got to announce it.
Your eye off the keeper in the US. That's what you can't do because he'll come flying in on you, and you'll have 2 broken ribs.
Yes, this is true. But anyway, you know, it's going to be exciting. But Wrexham Women are also going. That was the news we just missed out on last week when we recorded. That's a massive thing, you know, a massive thing because there can't be many. I'd love to know if Swansea or Cardiff ladies have gone anywhere to that extent for a pre-season thing. Surely
Bristol.
not. Probably Bristol. But I mean, it just shows the owner's commitment to growing the women's game.
Both
That side of the club. Yeah, and you know, we know it's growing. We know women's game's growing, despite what Joey Barton may think. So to get them on a plane out there is going to be so good, and it's going to be such a good experience for them all as well. You know, the first semi-professional women's team in Wales, and they thoroughly deserve it. They thoroughly deserve it. So I think it's going to be. I think it might take them by surprise at the sort of levels of fandom they're going to get as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I agree. Tim, there's 2 things I have to ask you.
Yes.
One involves a song.
We'll get to that in a minute. Yes.
Do you have any Brian Flynn news?
Well, wait. We'll come to the Flynn news in a minute. Well, we're just on the subject of the women. Obviously, they play today against Cardiff. Their nemesis. I think it's the 3rd or it might be the 4th time they've played them this year. They've lost all 4, I think, unless I'm wrong. They got walloped today at the Rock 6-1. Yeah, it's a nasty one. They're 2-1 down at half time, and then Cardiff have come out. Obviously, they're a lot sharper, much more accustomed to being at the top end of their game. So it's another big learning curve, and you know,
they're going to.
Ladies, but you know, it's one of those things. One of the
best team in that league, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's what they're aspiring to get to. It's what they're aspiring to get to. Next, they play Swansea City at the Cae Ras. So the last time. Feel that? You know, it's 2:00 on Sunday, you know, day after the Grimsby game on home soil. Tickets are £3 for adults, £1 for kids. I mean, they had like 9,500 last time. If they get anywhere near that this time, it'll be amazing. You know, people love their football fix. You know, not everybody's going to get to Grimsby. So get your football fix. Go and see the women play at the Cae Ras on Sunday, 2:00 kickoff. Tickets are available now. Go and get them, fill the place, make some noise, and see what they're all about, basically. Anyway,
right.
Flynn-tel.
Flynn news.
Flynn-tel's not that good.
Oh,
Uh,
what? Say
I spoke to Brian Flynn at great length at the My Screen on Tuesday before the Harrogate game when he was giving a talk, and I was on the same table as him, and he was semi-drunk. He was on his third glass of wine, even though he said he was only on his second. He told me a very sordid tale about Martin Chalk, which I'll tell you privately if I haven't told you that yet. We'll do that somewhere else. And then we were just talking about stuff. I said, "Oh yeah, what about Max Clueworth?" And he looked at me and went, and this the most unsurprising intel you'll ever hear in your life. He goes, "This big club's looking at him." So that's all I've got. We know it, you know it, but if it's coming from Brian Flynn, it's good enough for me.
Does he
So
still
Brian
hate
Flynn,
Andy
he
Marriott?
does.
Does he still hate Andy Marriott?
He does.
That's what we're going to know.
So point number one, Max Clueworth being looked at by clubs higher up the pyramid. Great. If you're going to come in for him, just loan him back to us for the season. That'd be great. Continues development. He does.
Point two, he still hates Andy Marriott. Point
So
three, Martin Chalk.
Despises Andy Marriott. Like we talked about the whole Chesterfield thing. Oh, I said I felt sorry for Darren. Anyway, it wasn't Darren's fault. It was all Marriott's fault. Marriott's an arsehole. And he told me all sorts of other stuff about Marriott. I was like, I've got to get him
Andy,
on, right.
if you're out there somewhere in the world, come and give us your side. That's the side we want, isn't it?
Get them on
Save
together.
your reputation. Point blank.
Let's get them on together. That'd be amazing. Right. Before I do this song, and there is a twist to the song, got to wish a happy 100th birthday to Mr. Arthur Massey, who's at the game guest of honour on Saturday, presented with a shirt with 100 on it, signed by all the squad. I mean, Jesus, we've witnessed some lean times. He's witnessed a lot more lean times than us, but probably a whole lot more great times as well. His 70s team and all that. So massive happy birthday to him. Great to see him in the documentary. Gates team still coming in the matches and all that and showing his support from the team. Rocks that sheepskin coat better than John Motson ever did. It's a good look. It's a strong look. Love his little hat. So happy birthday to him. I hope he has lots and lots of presents. I didn't even know it was Lee Jones's granddad. I had no idea.
Shitting hell, is he?
Yeah, it's his granddad. I was like, when did that cat out of the bag? So Lee Jones posted before. I was like, yeah, happy 100th to my granddad. I'm like, eh? So yeah, who knew?
Before we get into the song, because let's end on a song. That's like fantasy football used to end on a song. Liam, did you meet anyone's boyhood hero on Saturday?
Well, I might have been sat next to the one and only King Carl Connolly, which was pretty much the only good thing about Saturday's game. You had Carl Connolly next to us in the seats, which I'm pretty sure Rich from the platform owned. So thanks to Rich for giving that to King Carl. I was doing my usual thing of trying to play it cool, and my mate was like, "Oh, do you want a picture of him?" I was like, "Nah. Oh, go on then." And secretly I was doing love hearts. And then 2 rows behind, just a bit to the left, you had Psycho Gary Bennett sat there, and he was like a naughty school kid. He was throwing paper into Carl's hood. He was ruffling him, doing all this to him, winding him up.
Carl just like nodding it away, leaping like a salmon, and hammering it towards the goal.
He was just sort of doing a half volley into Chester's net and just standing there sort of like this. He was perfectly calm and collected.
I love Carl Connolly. I love him so much.
He did say to me though that
Really?
that there was this time when Wrexham got promoted, and if there's one item of clothing that he was really, really keen to keep, it was his sock. But some hoodlum came on and took said sock. I don't know if you know anything about that, Andy.
I mean, literally, I was about 13, mate. I was well into my socks at that age. What I would say about if I saw Carl Connolly, you remember the Simpsons episode where Bart gets adopted by Mr. Burns and they get Mole Man instead, and all Homer Simpson wants to do is kiss his head. That would be me and Carl Connolly.
You love that man.
Love Carl Connolly. He is without a doubt my favourite ever Wrexham player, and he's also I met him after the playoff. Sorry, not the playoff. After the FA Trophy win in Weatherspoons, which is quite apt in Wembley, and he was such a nice guy, and he just didn't know why I wanted to speak to him or buy him pints, and
well,
so
lick his ear.
Yeah, well, the unassuming nature of Carl makes him almost doubles my sort of fan. Well, I can't even think of the words. I love Carl Connolly, but just all of it. He's a complete package. Love the guy, absolutely brilliant. Tim, let's finish on a song.
Well, you're going to be disappointed and disappointed.
I'm always disappointed.
Yeah, well, right. You're not getting your Pavarotti. I can't do it. I've tried. All I can get is that, Okonkwo, and all. I just can't do it. So, in a late great edition, I have come up with something relevant to what happened yesterday. So, this is said almost
Is this
like
Walk the Line by Johnny Cash?
No. This is Should I Stay or Should I Go by
even better. Well done.
By The Clash.
Yeah.
And this is spoken from Arthur Okonkwo himself. So I've done this to a karaoke track so you can understand the lyrics. This is going to be 90 seconds of gold. So prepare yourself. I've got to get this right. Come on, Edwards. Whoa. Here we go. I've got to get this right. Listen to the lyrics. Come on. Canon, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? If you shout to say it's mine, I'll have to rush out off my line. So Canon, let me know. Did you shout for a Okonkwo? It's always
your best one.
Tranmere. They always end up winning here. One game is fine, but two is crap. We just can't score when we attack. So Canon, please let me know. Did you shout for a Okonkwo? Did you shout Arthur Okonkwo? Did you shout Arthur Okonkwo? If I go, there will be trouble. And if I stay, it will be double.
It was.
So Canon, let me know. There you go.
I enjoyed that. That was your best, because you're not trying to do a chant that's going to catch on. You just, have I got news for you? You've captured the zeitgeist and put it to music.
I made a few phonetic.
Matt.
Thank you. I made a few phonetic errors in there, but that song may or may not be brought to life in a live environment near you in the near future.
Cryptic.
Okay.
So
Cryptic, and we have bored you enough because this has been nearly 80 minutes of whatever it was, and we need to draw this to a close. We've not done the predictions, so I think we're just going to say goodbye.
We did.
We did?
Yeah, well, what I mean, we're not ending on the predictions like we normally do. And
you should always end on a song. And Liam,
if you don't like Book of Okonkwo, you can actually turn off before the end. But don't turn off the end. Actually subscribe, like, and leave a comment.
And if you don't like Book of Okonkwo,
all the comments that you leave, I really like those.
Please send any complaints to Andrew Gilpin at Hotmail.
No, can we not put the bloody... well, one thing I am going to say about that is, yes, I have been sending out free fanzines. And yes, if you do contact me at that address, I will send you a free issue if you just cover postage and packaging. I think I've got all of them done now. So if you don't get one soon, come back to me and I'll sort it out again.
Answers on a postcard why does Liam currently look like A, James McClean, B, Hilda Ogden, or C, Rafa Nadal with his and D, the Karate Kid.
Well, I just found this headband on Becky's makeup table, so it just felt like the time to wear it. That's all I can say.
I think those emo days are due to come back. I think you should do it.
I did have one like this back in the day.
On that note,
yeah.
On that bombshell, let's bid good day to everyone and join in next week for more of this, if you would if you want to. All right.
Please
Goodbye
do
from me.
enjoy up the town. Take care. See you later.
Cheers. Bye bye. Bye bye.